Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of a 2011 Bessacarr E460. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. You've got your exhaust, and then next to it you do have your dirty water outlet. So anything that you've put down a plug hole goes into a holding tank, go over the grid on the way out of your site, crack the tap open, drain it off, and then always make sure that it's fully drained off in the winter so that no water freezes inside the tank. Cassette loo, so using the habitation key, which is this black key here, you'll be able to unlock the locker. On this one you've got a header tank, so this is where you'd fill with your pink liquid, so you put your pink and some water in there, and then you'll see here that there's a little clear tube. This will go fluorescent pink with the liquid if you're putting pink in, or just water. And then below you've got your cassette, so ensure the blade's closed, lift the green handle, slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've got it so you can drag it as well as carry it, and then to empty, take it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. Take the cap off, press the green button there, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in, give it a rinse and tip out again. If you're using the green or the blue chemical, a cap full of chemical into here and it's good to go. Or if you're using the tablets, put a pint of water in the cassette, which you can either do now or you can do when you push it in, and then one tablet into the cassette, or 120 ml of liquid is all it takes, and that'll start breaking things down. LPG, so liquid petroleum gas locker, so you can fit 2 6-kilogram bottles on board, and you've got a spare. And then you'd always put the collar underneath here, so this is just for an example, but this needs to go on first, and then you'd connect your pigtail, which is a left hand thread, hand tighten, no need for a spanner. Make sure the bottle's strapped in and make sure that the bottle is turned off when you travel. And of course you can get a spare, but you do have a crush valve here, so once you've turned the bottle on, just give that a press for 3 seconds. It allows the gas through the valve and into the van. Connect with mains if you are on a site or you are charging at home. You get your hookup lead, lift the collar, and then hook up like so. Hook the vehicle first, then the power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle. When heating the water on gas, you must take the cover off, and it must look like this. I'll show you the cover in a minute, but that's just so it allows the fumes out of the vehicle, of the flue. Otherwise, if the cover was on, which is this, the fumes won't be able to escape and they'll linger around there and it'll cause it to fail. So one hand on the top and peel the cover off, then put the cover in the door pocket of the driver's side, and then when you come to drive off, pop your cover on, because it'll stop behind the vent from getting dirty. At the back of the vehicle you've got your high level brake light, bike rack, so 2 bike rack on here, so you pull this down, wheels through there, these through the spokes to tie the wheels onto the rails, and then these through your crossbars, and then put some sort of bike lock around your bikes to stop them going missing if you were parked up. And then at the bottom you've got reversing sensors fitted to this model. Coming round, you've got your locker here, so again opening it with the habitation key, the small black key. You've got storage underneath here and storage underneath there. This is a U-shaped lounge at the back. To fill with water, buy yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connection ends, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. And then to fill with water, you put a hose pipe in there, fill it until it overflows, or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. You do have a 12-volt socket here for a submersible pump if you wanted to fill from a submersible pump power in there, other end in there, pump in the water and it'll suck it in to here. But mainly on a motorhome you just use a hose pipe. You've got your awning light and your 2 fridge vents. Diesel here which opens with the main fade key. Tyre pressures, 5 on the front which is 72.3 psi and 5.5 on the back which is 79.5. Toolkit underneath the passenger seat. Engine batteries underneath the cab floor, and your bonnet release is on the side of the passenger dashboard. Underneath the bonnet you've got your screen wash at the top, power steering fluid, brake fluid and coolant, followed by your oil and your oil dipstick. And then should you need to jump start the vehicle, you'd earth beside the headlight and a positive under there. Above the habitation door is your 12-volt control panel. So if you're hooked up, you'll get a light here and on there to say that you're hooked up and you are receiving 240-volt power. Your master switch is this one here that says power, so whether it's turning 12-volt on or mains power, you just press that to operate the motorhome. View cabin lights, or should I say view levels, will show you leisure, your fresh water, your wastewater and your vehicle battery readings. Cabin lights turn on the lights inside the vehicle, so that's just like the master switch for the lights, and they all are individually switched around the van. Once you've viewed your levels and you know you've got enough water on, you can turn the pump on, which will bring the water to the taps. Without the pump on, you'll just get whatever's in the pipelines until it drains off. And then you've got your awning light, which is the light outside. To lock the door, you can just push this catch in here and it will lock the door. Go for the handle, it will release. You've got your step switch so you can control the step. And you've got your lights for your entrance area. Now in the kitchen, so you've got a microwave, which is a 700 watt mains and microwave. And then below you do have one electric hot plate, which is the far left hand side one, which will operate this one here. And then gas, 3 burner hob. So once you've had the gas on, or any of the hobs should I say, if you allow them to cool before you put the cooker hood down, otherwise you might smash the glass if it is too hot. Underneath you've got your grill. So hold it in once it's lit and then release, because if you release too quick like I have, it'll go out because the thermocouple isn't warm enough to stay open with the crash valve. So just prime it back through.
It goes on eventually.
There's your oven lit, so try lighting the oven first. Give the and there you go. So it just needs some time to stop. And as you can see there, they're both lit. You may want to remove your oven shelf and grill pan when travelling, as they can be the main cause of rattling when on the road. You've got your plug for your burner hob. As long as the pump's on, you'll get pressurised water like so. This will happen This will happen when the boiler's been open. It'll just spurt loads of air out until the system is primed, which I'll tell you how to do so when I show you how to drain the boiler off, and then you'll get a pressurised flow of water. To operate your fridge, so what you need to do is on off here. So press and hold, it'll turn itself off and back on. And then as it's a three-way fridge, what I would do is just leave it on auto, which is this one here. It'll automatically go at the picture of the hookup because we're hooked up. If I was to start the engine, it'll go at the 12 volt setting, whereas the fridge needs to be pre-chilled beforehand. So if you're on a site and you're ready to drive to the next site, great, put it on auto, and as soon as the engine starts, it'll go on to the 12 volt setting and it'll keep the shopper nice and fresh. Or if you've pre-chilled it at home the day before with the shopping in, your shopping will be nice and fresh when you arrive on auto. Obviously it picks the best source available, automatic. If then you unhook and you go wild camping, it will light on gas. But if you wanted to manually change it, you just press here. So it's gone to battery, code 10, engine isn't running. Gas, it's lit, self-ignites, and then you've got 5 being the warmest, 5 being the coolest, 1 being the warmest. And we always advise with your fridges that you clean them out when you're not using them and leave the door open. So you would just leave the door ajar like so, and it'll allow air circulation in and out of the fridge to stop bacteria and mold from growing if it was closed. Got a cutlery tray, some racks there, and a draining board which goes on the sink, and another cutlery tray above the storage drawer. So located on the side of the wardrobe, you've got 2 Truma dials here. So you've got Ultra Store, which is store water on gas. This is where the cover needs to come off. So you've got 30 to 70 degrees on the black dial here, which is the temperature of your water, and then you would just turn down to the gas, make sure the cover's off, and it'll go green, which means it's lit. If it was to go to red, it means one or two things: you either left the cover on, or you haven't turned your gas bottle on, or it's run out. And this side you've got your ultra heat, so this is heating the vehicle on mains 230 volt electric. So if you've paid your site fees, you'll not want to use your gas, you'll want to use their electric, because that's why you've paid to go on a site. So you've got off in the middle. To the top is 2000, which is 2 kilowatts, and 1 to 9. 9's equivalent to 30 degrees, so you can adjust that being the thermostat. Or you've got 500, which is 500 watt, which is half a kilowatt. Or you've got 1000, which is 1 kilowatt. So depending on what the site gives you, so you'd use 500 or 1000 on smaller CL sites. On big camping caravan sites, you'd use 2000. But it all depends on what current they give you on site, and ampage, and what other mains volt appliance you are running at the time. So if you run the microwave or a kettle, don't think you can run everything together, because you'll trip the vehicle or trip the site. If you did want to heat the vehicle off gas, this is where the fire comes into play. So you've got 1 to 10 here. This is your gas valve. So adjust the temperature, and if you look in there, you'll see that it's lit. Just there, you can see there, it's lit through the pilot hole. So if you're wild camping, or if it was really cold, you can of course have the gas and electric on together. If not, wild camping, you would just be heating it off gas, because you wouldn't have any source of electric. And then on this side, you've got your fan. So you've got 1 to 5 being your fan speed. That blows it around the bathroom, the various ducts of the parts of the vehicle. If you did want a wild camp and use the gas, which you'll not want to blow it round, because you'll want to save the 12 volt. So A stands for automatic, so that'll blow it round until the thermostat picks up that the vehicle is to temperature, and it'll cut out. In the middle is off, and it'll convect out the front, but do be careful that you don't catch any clothing on here. And then to the far left is manual, and it'll blow around the various parts of the vehicle, but you will have to manually intervene, either turn it off or turn the temperature down. So A, it'll cut out and then cut back in. Middle, it'll come out the front, and to the left hand side it'll go around the various parts of the vehicle, but you'll have to intervene as this is manual mode. Above it you do have your wardrobe. So obviously this is your flue for your heater, which takes the flue to the roof. You've got your wardrobe hanging rail, you've got a booster for your TV, and you've got your aerial. So if you are struggling, you can loosen this off, push the pole up and adjust the aerial on the collar here. But the best thing to do is look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing and point your aerial in a similar direction. But always before travel, pull the stem in and tighten the nut to stop the wind from ripping the aerial off the roof. Got a small cupboard next to the fire, and then just under here, press the 2 turnbuckles. You've got your TV, so you've got an Avtex TV there, which will work off the Freeview. So you turn it on, and then you want to press AQT, which is this yellow button here, each time you move to retune your TV, as it'll be picking up a different source. So you just press and hold, press OK, and then it'll do an auto search and find as many channels as it can in your area. In the back corner is where your boiler is. So your boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. It's very important in the winter that you drain it off, because you don't want the water to freeze in the cylinder head and crack it, because these are very expensive. So to drain the water down, what you would do is you'd come in with no power on. You'd have opened the waste outside, and I'll show you how to drain the fresh through the floor in the centre of the van in a moment. You'd leave all your taps open, remove your shower head from your shower hose, and then what you would do is you would just lift this up. So it's lying down, lift it up like so, stand it on end, and all the water will drain out of that. Leave it open through the time you've got the vehicle stood up in the winter and not in use, and then when you come to reuse it, close your boiler so it's lying down again, shut your waste, shut all your taps, fill the vehicle via a hose pipe from outside, come in, put the panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic feed of cold water which will be pressurized. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. This is when you know that your system is then primed. But remember, always drain it down, because it's not covered under warranty, and they are very expensive to replace a boiler. So in the lounge at the back, if you just lift the panel off, which is this one here, underneath there's a tank, which is your fresh water tank. So releasing the cap, you'll see that there's fresh water in the tank there. But to drain it off, what you need to do is put your hand in, fish around for the chain, which has got the plug on. Lift the plug out and allow the water to drain out the tank, as you wouldn't want water to freeze in there in the winter, and you wouldn't want to house any contaminated water if you have taken on contaminated water, or if you're leaving the van for a couple of weeks when you've got other plans and you can't use the motorhome. Just drain it down and stops the water from going stagnant. But you do it by getting into the tank, by putting your hand in and pulling the plug out. Just above your TV is a location of your power supply unit, which is your E460, and it has your trips. So if you trip the vehicle out, this is where you would go to see if the vehicle has been tripped. And then underneath it's got all your fuses, so do carry some spare blade fuses with you. They are just standards, they're not micros like the cars are now, the standard ones on the motorhomes. And on the back there you've got which fuse does which and the rating and what colour it should be, so you can see exactly what fuse is blown and you can replenish it. To make the bed, you just turn this turnbuckle and slide the lats out. Lift them up. So there's a stopper here. If you just lift the furniture board end up and pop it on the other end, jam it in, it'll stop it from moving on both sides. And then what you would do is you'd use your backrests, turn them upside down, put them in the middle, do the same with this one. And then there's a little infill cushion which just slides in the middle there, so you just pop that in there. And there you have a double bed across the vehicle. You can turn these ones upside down as well so you don't get the bull nose. But at the back as well, I'll show you this. If you wanted to dine at the back, you can pull this out, turn the top over, and there you have a table. Or you can just use it as a coffee table by pushing it back into place like so. So to operate the toilet, if you press this button here, it'll fill with water like it has. Always fill the toilet first to lubricate the seal on the blade, and then open the blade, use this handle here and slide it to the right. Use the toilet, flush after use, and then slide this back to the left, which will shut the blade and isolate the cassette, meaning you can get it out the exterior of the vehicle when it is ready to be emptied. And it will come up with a light, so it'll indicate when the toilet is full. You've got your shower screens, so they're tied back when travelling by 2 tie backs and a turnbuckle. And you've got a hanging rail here, so you can hang your wet towels and coats up here if you've been caught in the rain. Push this up to open if you've had a shower and you want some ventilation, or if it's the summer and you just want a bit of ventilation in the van. You can have one side down and one side up, or it's like triple jointed, so that depending on the wind you can have whatever side open and you'll not be affected by it. And then you do have your shower head, which is on your tap, but if you pull it out you'll be able to clip it up here, hold the button in, and you'll be able to have a shower, along with your light switch, which is here, which turns the light on and off. But you can see there, right, this is the water working, and this is hot water. As it's getting rather warm, the water, so that your water heating system is working.